Greetings everyone and welcome back to regular Streets of New Capenna drafts. At this time they will be traditional drafts up until, well, I know promises. There's also gonna be a Theros Beyond Death premier drafts, I think, but I'm not really sure if I'm going to draft them yet. But a couple of weeks or 3 weeks or so and we will have the new set. Although it is alchemy only, but it is a totally draftable set coming in July. So let's see what's here. Bad rare, not really playable. And then the two uncommons are not good. I mean, this illicit shipment is just actively bad, way too expensive. And this is pretty hard to pull off in a draft because 7 mana is a lot. If you have a lot of treasure production, maybe, yeah. But I think the Bouncer's Beatdown is the best uncommon, and there's none of the actual very good quality commons are in this pack. So the Bouncer's Beatdown is the best card, and I'll start with that. Okay, so only one green card, which I'm not taking here. Well, you already know what's gonna be the pick here. It's the best common in the set. Someone took the rare. So yeah, obviously Inspiring Overseer is the correct pick regardless of your first pick. Even if I took like a red card or a black card, which is not that easy to combine with the white card, this would be the pick. And of course green and white is one of the better color combinations in the set, so let's take that. Just quickly glancing here what I'm passing. Not too much of a signal or anything, so it's a pretty safe pack to pass. Alright, Titan of Industry, pick 3. Now that is also a 7 mana card, but of course that has huge... That's way better than the black uncommon in the first pack. The Dusk Mangler, or what was its name? This has... I mean, if you get to resolve this, it's just a pretty amazing set of abilities. And of course, when you are playing green, you also will have access to more treasure token generating, so it will be easier to hit the 7 mana mark. So it's easily to pick. I don't think I even have a playset of these mythics, so it's still going to watch set completion, which is, you know, nice to get to pick a mythic rare that I also want to play in my deck. Not just a rare draft. Assuming I will end up green. Hopefully I will. Okay, there's another angel. There's Adjudicators. Goedegoon's best common in the pack, I think. Better than the Adjudicators usually, because it's, you know, just one color. But I will take this, especially after having taken the pretty decent green removal already from an earlier pack. So I guess I don't see a lot of white here. I will take the Voice of the Vermin. It is a... I think it's a better than average 4-drop. And this pack is overall quite weak. I am, you know, willing to move away from white if just totally nothing from white is going to be passed my way. For example, this pack has Speakeasy Sever, but I don't really feel happy picking any of these 5 mana 3/3 flyers early in the draft because you don't really want to play multiples of those. So I take the Vermin here, and I will most likely be at least green and hopefully white because of the best common in the set here. And well, we'll see. But this pack is really nice because there's a really good 5-drop green uncommon creature. This is an amazing card, I think. Well, as amazing as a regular, you know, just a big 5 mana creature can be, but this often attacks and blocks as like a... Well, it's easy to be a 6/6, but it can easily be like a 7/7 or an 8/8, which is a really good deal for 5 mana. And remember, this also works when blocking, so it's not just an offensive creature, as these type of effects often are only attack triggers. But if I'm green-white, I should take the Crowbar. There's also Strangle and Murder, which I'm not taking. The decision is between these two. I think I like the good quality 2-drop more, and I have the Inspiring Overseer. That is a reason to, you know, slightly force white. And based on these packs, it's actually not such a bad idea. This pack has still 3 cards I would be very happy to pick here. The Land, and then the Backup Agent, nice 2-drop, and also the Luxurious Libation, which I quite like. Quite like as a combat trick, because it's never going to be that efficient, but it has the, you know, the I win the game potential when the game has gone a bit longer and you are attacking with someone that doesn't get blocked. And of course you can always get the 1/1 tokens even so if you pay like 3 mana to get +2/+2 there. You get the token at least there. Okay, but I think I still take the good 2-drop, because in this format getting to curve out is really important. And this is one of the better 2-drops. Also, green-white has some citizen synergy potential, so the creature type does matter here. Now, I would be happy to take a Botanical Plaza, maybe even the Adjudicators. I don't usually look to play 3 colors, but this is the best of this cycle. But I think I'm not going to miss another freelance muscle. I'm getting it at pick 7. I'm gonna take it now. Hopefully I get some land fixing, because I have this triple green, for instance, here. But yeah, mana fixing would be nice, but hopefully I will get at least 1 or 2 pieces of them later in the draft. It doesn't have to be a Botanical Plaza, it could be one of the, you know, the 2 fetch lands too that work for green-white. And here is the first pack that's not really... I mean, I have had a couple of pretty strong packs and with multiple decent options, but now this is maybe the first in a while that isn't that impressive. I have currently 5 creatures, 2 non-creatures. I don't like the Social Climber much at all. I just really don't. I think I like the Quick Draw Dagger more. Okay, I can take the... I'm not taking another dagger here. I could take the Boon of Safety. I like it as a 1 mana trick, but I guess I still could take a 2 mana creature. This is one of the, you know, not so good ones, but still okay. And also, it is not a citizen, so if I'm gonna end up with more 2-drops than I need, this is one of the first to cut. But I think I still just want to secure a reasonable number of 2-drops. Okay, I guess this is the only reasonable card for my colors. And actually, green-white turned out somewhat open here. I got some, well, I guess the late backup agent was the, you know, the best white card I saw there. But still, this is a fine deck. It's gonna be a green-white deck. I don't think, I mean, unless I'm getting like a bum mythic, I don't think I'm gonna splash a 3rd color. Okay, the Swordjack is just so weak. I don't want to ever play it. I'll just take the Speakeasy Sever, but I do have a 7-drop. Okay, so people in this draft pod really value this card differently than me, so I'm happy about that. I think this is an amazing card. And this also means I'm just going to cut the Speakeasy Sever, because I have these 5-drops and this 7-drop. That is already a lot of expensive cards, and here I get a very, very powerful bomb rare, Fight Rigging, an uncolored bomb rare. Yeah, this is one of those drafts where things seem to go my way. It's an obvious pick here. I might get the Connoisseur or the Libation back. There's a Broker's Hideout which works for green and white. Yeah, I might get a card from my deck here. I would maybe play a Prize Fight too. Actually, with this 7-drop, Prize Fight is you know, slightly more desirable, because the treasure token can matter. It's not usually that great in green-white, because your creature size might not be that big. But anyway, let's take the Fight Rigging here. And I do realize I have only about 4 white cards, but they are, I mean, maybe not the Shield Mate, but the 2-drops and the 3-drop are of course pretty fantastic. So I'm not going to... I'm pretty much locked into white at this point, especially because I have a Civil Servant in this pack. Now the Rumor Gatherer, it's okay, but it's not really that good of a card. It's not that easy always to get the card draws, and you will need to draw at least 1 card to make it worth this hard to cast, you know, double caster at 3 mana 2/1. So it's not the, you know, such a priority, but this is a high quality 2-drop, and I will easily take this, and my 2-drop count starts to be pretty good. My citizen count is only 3. That said, this Grauborg does make a citizen, so it's actually 4, although that is one of them. So when I care about other citizens, of course, when I'm counting citizens for this thing. Right, this pack has white and green. I think, even though the Fencer can just, you know, really grow in any longer game quite nicely, I do like the initial shield counter on this. Sometimes this is just a, you know, 4 mana 3/2 which trades off, or opponent kills it with a cheap removal spell. This at least has the shield counter. It's also a citizen, which doesn't matter for the servant and any other citizen synergies I might find here. Okay, Jewel Thief easily. If the Jewel Thief wasn't here, I don't think I need 2-drops at this point anymore, so I wouldn't... I mean, I still want to have maybe them, but I have already 5 here. It's pretty early in the draft. I would take the Gathering Throng if this, you know, the greatest green common wasn't in the pack, but now it's really easy, especially because the treasure token is very valuable with the Titan of Industry, of course. Alright, so how about here? Okay, there's a Botanical Plaza. This is actually the 3rd Botanical Plaza I'm probably going to, you know, pass, because there's an Informant, and this Raffine's Informant is just a nice 2-drop, much better than, for example, the Attendant Socialite. Man, yeah, I think I would like to have the mana fixing here, but darn, I have to take the very good 2-drop. I wouldn't take any mediocre 2-drop here over the Plaza, but this is the pick I'm gonna make here. Alright, so here, actually nothing for me. This is a best of 3 draft though, so sideboard is relevant, which means stuff like Gilded Pinions might be, you know, worth considering. Also the treasure token, I mean, it might also be a main deckable card here because of how important it is get to 7 mana in the games when I draw this thing. The treasure tokens do help there, like I have mentioned a couple of times already, so yeah, let's take that. And here, I don't think I need treasure tokens that much that I would take 4 mana 1/4 in a deck like this, especially because I do have 3 4 mana creatures here already. So is it gonna be a getaway card? Do I have any synergy with this? I can return my creatures. There's some ETB abilities here, not a lot, but some. Yeah, actually, and of course shield counters are good with this thing too. You can reset them. So I might even play the getaway card, because this is not a card you always want to play in your decks, but it might be okay in this one. Let's just take the on color card. Could be something I will use as a sideboard card. Alright, so now this, I have to take a land that fixes. I don't want to play 9/8 mana base. I will take this one that can grab me about the forest or place. It's my first piece of fixing, not counting the treasure token generating here. Prize Fight and the Connoisseur would be an okay, you know, addition to the deck, but it's not like I'm running out of, you know, cards, because this is now what, the 19 spells, and there's an entire pack to be drafted still. Okay, Backup Agent, much happier to pick that and play that than the Socialite. So if I end up cutting some 2-drops, I can get rid of those Socialites and play these slightly better ones. And here there's nothing. I'm never going to play 2 of these Most Wanted. I mean, and the only case I'm gonna play them is would be like some weird situation where I sideboard them in. I'll just take the uncommon, because, you know, it's an uncommon, gets me triple the world progress compared to a common. Okay, let's take the Gathering Throng. I'm not sure if I'm gonna find more of those, but who knows. I'm not taking a 6-drop in this deck. I'll just take the 2-drop here. Okay, this is red. Yeah, no, I can't play that really. Okay, this is the 4th Botanical Plaza that I'm going to pass here. It's a bit, I mean, it's not that big of a deal. I already have 1 piece of fixing, and this is, and I have some treasure generating here, so I shouldn't have too much trouble with colors of mana. But if you have watched my drafts once, you know how much I hate starting hands that have, you know, only 1 color of mana available. So that's why I do highly value these. But this pack has a Riveter's Decoy. That's an amazing 2-drop, because the Blitz option can just net your card sometimes, and still, even if you play a 2 mana 3/1, that has to be blocked. That's a better than average 2-drop, so I'll take the Decoy there. Alright, so there is a Progress Hideout, which I would be happy to take here, but there's also a Hold for Ransom. I think I might take this piece of removal here. It is a bit awkward against anything that has casualty or sacrifice stuff, but it's a card I can sideboard out in those cases. This is quite good in a universal answer in many games. And the 7 mana thing, yeah, this is strictly worse than a pacifism would be, but the 7 mana is a really tough you know, cost for getting rid of this aura, and at least I get to draw a card. So I don't think this card is that much worse than a pacifism. So let's take the removal now here. Okay, another Riveter's Decoy. At least I don't have a Botanical Plaza in this pack to be passing around. Okay, I take the Decoy, it's just better than the Connoisseur. Well, I mean, this has its moments, because this can give your entire team Death Touch, which can allow you to just Alpha Strike, not care about blocks, but Decoys, I mean, that's just one specific scenario, which doesn't come up that often. Decoy is gonna come up often, a lot more often. Sorry. Killshot is a card I'm like in the best of 3 because I can sideboard it in, but also Broken Wings. But I'm just not gonna pass Decoy here. Mage's Attendant. Alright. This is one of the better creature uncommons that are 3 drops. Well, out of all uncommon creatures in this set, this is top quality of them. I haven't really ranked all the uncommon creatures, but this is just amazing one. I'm very happy to pick that here. There's not really much competition here. There's actually not any competition. To be noted, I could have ended up with a deck that has a lot of Sparras Adjudicators, but I have, you know, enough of these expensive cards. So Mage's Attendant is just a better card, you know, anyway. Alright, so this, wow. Because normally the Cleanup Crew is a really good one. It is also an artifact and enchantment hate, main deckable like that. But can I play 2 5s, a 7 and a 6? I could take just an Informant here, which I would take over the other options here, the Boon of Safety and the Gardener. The Informant is such a good card. Man, if I didn't have all these expensive cards, I would take the Crew, but I don't think I'm gonna take the Crew right now. Yep. Okay, there's a Falco Sparrow. Do I have a playset of them? Yes, I do. So there's not really any incentive for me to redraft this card. I'm not going to splash blue for this thing. It's an okay card, but not even like a crazy bomb rare. It doesn't immediately take over the game or anything. And there's a Jewel Thief here, which is just, you know, fantastic. Yeah, let's take it. And Skycrier. I'm not really sure if I even care about it, although it might be a fun sideboard option, but I don't have like much reasons to maybe run the card. Not even Citizen's Energy is enough. Yeah, I'm just taking 20 gems here because I don't think this deck really cares about the 2 mana 1/1 flyer. I take the 20 gems. I'm greedy like that. Because I just don't see a scenario where I sideboard it in. Usually it's a card you sideboard out when the opponent, for example, plays blue-white and has a lot of flyers and the other one can't really battle with them. Alright, so here I take another backup agent. I'm not sure how many of these 2-drops I'm gonna play, but I think I'm gonna easily cut up both Socialites. Now, for the family, Libation, Broken Wings, nice sideboard card. Actually, that's a lot of good picks I could make, but now I'll just take the Botanical Plaza because I have, you know, way more cards than I need. And even though the Libation, I think, would have been my pick there, or maybe for the family, either of those, could be better than my 23rd card. I still think that the land improves my deck more. And here is another, so now I can play a pretty sweet, okay, there's the Connoisseur, pretty sweet mana base of, you know, 7/7 basics and 3 of these, which gives me a 10/10 mana base effectively. Alright, so here I think the sideboard option of Capenna Express is sometimes relevant. Okay, so you don't have gone to the main deck, so this is something you could see sideboarding me. You could see me sideboarding it in some very specific matchups when the opponent will have trouble dealing with the 6/6. Alright, so I took them, what was its name, the enchantment aura. There was another Civic Gardener in that pack. Where is it? So I picked the Raffine's Guidance over the Civic Gardener for the same reason that this is one of the more cuttable 2-drops. I'm probably going to cut that, and I don't see a scenario where I'm gonna play 2 of these Civic Gardeners, whereas the Raffine's Guidance could maybe be a sideboard card in some pretty, you know, no, not such a frequent case when you sideboard this in, but it's still something that's happening more likely than me playing with 2 Civic Gardeners post sideboard. Okay, as you can see, there are gonna be 8 cards. I guess with, well, no, this is my only 2 Connive cards. Because sometimes when you have a lot of Connive, you can play 16 lands because you can turn, when you are light on lands, you can turn spells into, you know, extra draws, and then you even get the +1/+1 counters. So definitely conniving is better when you have maybe an excess of non-lands in your hand than an excess of lands, because you miss out on the +1/+1 counter when you discard a land. So I still think that because I do have the double muscle here and the Titan of Industry. Okay, I'm not playing the Capenna Express though, so actually the number of my expensive cards isn't that high. 2 5s, 3 4s, and 1 6, so if I'm playing 23 spells in the deck, 17 out of those will be castable at 3 mana or less. I should cut the guidance too. What are the other easy cuts? I think both Socialites and the Civic Gardener, because that still leaves me at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, okay, 10 2-drops. That's, I mean, you don't even need 10, so I think I'm just gonna cut the lands for now, because sometimes the auto adjustment tool just, you know, messes up with the color balance, even though it tries to, you know, be as balanced as possible. When you don't touch those lands, it will actually, once you start moving cards into your deck and out of your deck, that number of basic lands can change, and if you don't pay attention to that, you might have a different balance of lands in your deck than you initially thought. So that's why I usually cut the lands and then add them in the end. Alright, so that's 26 cards. So there is I could see playing 16 lands here only because I have some amount of cards that, you know, create my treasure tokens, especially if I'm going to play the Gilded Pinions. My lack of flyers might actually be a reason to play it. Because sometimes these 2-drops just, you know, get outclassed, and you can make them fly, especially making these into a Vigilance flyer. If the opponent has some 2-power flyer, it's very nice to have the Jewel Thief, you know, attacking and, you know, threatening the block. Also very good with the freelance muscles, because these, you know, if these get to attack, they will just get jump blocked. They will usually have enough power for the opponent to not be able to just take it at least more than once. So allowing these guys to fly is great. And the biggest thing is that the treasure token does help me get to the Titan of Industry here. So 16 lands, and also, like I said, the Informants, when I draw them, I can, you know, if I'm lacking lands, I can just discard non-lands for the, well, draw a card and then not discard a land to, you know, make it easier to hit my land drops. But I would need to cut still. I mean, let's see, 1, 2. Do I want to play the Quick Draw Dagger? That's also one thing. The Getaway card is actually quite interesting, because this is only crew 1 and it's a really decent combination with the backup agents. Of course, it also works with the even with the Jewel Thieves. If you just want to have the treasure token and you somehow have the 3 mana to recast this Jewel Thief itself. And of course with the Inspiring Overseer, and like I said earlier, all these, you know, sealed counter things are pretty sweet. And I suppose Titan of Industry too, but usually when you have resolved this thing, that's almost, you know, all you need to win the game. Yeah, I do like the dagger here. I think I like the Getaway card. So I like the dagger, I like the pinions. Now they are cards that are not that great in every matchup, so I could use them as sideboard cards. But I think I also could just cut a 2-drop here. Maybe the 2 mana 2/2 that, you know, sometimes the death touch is relevant, but I'm going to cut the Connoisseur. That still leaves me with so many 2 mana cards. Also, although the Decoys here, they have a 4 mana option, which is actually quite nice. You often want to use the Blitz option if you can, but of course, if this is your only play, when you have less than 4 mana available, you of course just play the 3/1 in most cases. But anyway, I mean, if this curve looks like very, very, you know, heavy on the 2-drops, these effectively can also act as 4-drops. But I'm gonna cut at least 1 card here. I think it should be one of the equipment. The number of creatures is 18, so I could run 2 equipments and usually not have trouble. You know, finding a creature to equip. I guess I like the stat increasing kind of combat trick equipment more in the main deck, and the Gilded Pinions, I could see this being more valuable in as a sideboard card, because if I'm going to cut one of them, I will cut the Gilded Pinions, because to be honest, the most important thing this has going on is the treasure token. Of course, I wouldn't play a card just that just makes a treasure token. The fact it can make a creature fly is good, but usually you don't play an equipment that is 2 to play, 2 to equip, to give a creature flying. But this deck could really care about the treasure token. Not only the Titan of Industry, but playing something like a Freelance Muscle turn 4 can be really backbreaking for the opponent if they can't deal with it. So the Pinions is... in this deck I have basically 3 big incentives to play cards that create a treasure token. But it's still, in some matchups, the fact I get a flying creature, it doesn't even matter. So I think I'm gonna use this as a sideboard card and probably play this deck as it is now, and I will play with just 16 lands. Also the Informants, you know, not the worst with the getaway card. Now this has to attack, so you can't just, you know, keep crewing it and getting some value. You have to be able to attack with this thing. Now you will always get the effect once, of course, but the opponent can quite easily usually kill this thing with something that has 3 power. But this card at least has 4 power, so it's not that the opponent can just eat it for free. Usually opponent has to trade with this thing, and if you get some kind of, you know, synergy, it's probably pretty nice. And then this is an optional return. You don't have to return a creature that crewed this, so you can just, you know, play it as a 3 mana 4/3 crew 1 vehicle, which to be fair isn't that great, and that's why you often leave this out from your decks. But I think this deck has enough synergy to make it worth the addition, at least in the main deck. Alright, so this would be 18 creatures, 6 non-creatures. Am I missing something relevant here? I could see in some matchups sideboarding the Speakeasy server in and Capenna Express. Yeah, but I think I like this main deck configuration the most, and I will play all these lands. Now I can't play the sweet 7/7 and 3 combination, but I can still play 6 and 7 basic lands, which gives me a 10/9 mana base. And I think that even though, well, I have more green cards, but I have more white 2-drops, I think I still can't really easily keep any starting hand that has only one of the colors available, because I have such a balanced mix of both green and white, and of course these are also 2-drops. So because of the triple green here, usually it doesn't come up that often at 7 mana. I mean, when you have 7 lands, I can't cast this if I have 5 plains and 2 forests and no treasures. So that's not gonna happen often, but I think that is still the tiebreaker here, and I'm going to add 7 forests and 6 plains here. Let's use this one for plains, and for forest this Strixhaven. And also something to note is that the Jewel Thieves, you know, they create a treasure token, so I could see keeping a starting hand that has, what, 3 forests, a Jewel Thief, and, you know, maybe hopefully some other green card too, but maybe at least I can cast one of my white cards with the treasure token. So having more forests helps me also get to some white mana thanks to the Jewel Thieves, I guess. Alright, so that's the deck. And I also should check out the citizen count here. It is now only 6, but the crowbar does make a 7th one. So this thing has basically 6 other cards that will create me a citizen that can be used to for this ability here. Okay, I'm not having any of my plenty of 2-drops, but I have a fight rigging. It's not really a hand I can, you know, not a hand I can mulligan, especially being on the draw. I have 2 more draw steps, so I can find one of my 2-drops here, which I did. Is it gonna be okay, they had a synergy here. Now, okay, this is an interesting decision. Whichever 2-drop I'm gonna play, I'm gonna use to block this thing. Which one is gonna be more valuable later on? I guess the fact that this has the 4-mana option is valuable enough that I should do this. That said, now the opponent doesn't actually have a blue mana available. Imagine if they did. because... Okay, you know what? I'm doing this. I have a couple of other 4-drops anyway to cast, so I don't know if I even can play the Blitz. But the point is, I hope they play... Oh, well, that's really good news. But man, they knew what's... Okay. Well, I of course hope they would attack with this thing. But initially, I just hoped that they would, you know, attack with this and play this Lucky here. And then, you know, trade with the 3-1. And of course my plan was to use the fight rigging here to make it so that I can eat it for free, because it would have 2 toughness at that point. Well, all that is now pretty miserable, because they have one of the better mythic rares in the set. They even had the basic lands for 3 different colors to do it on the play on turn 3, which is gonna... Well, I have my own bomb rare here too, but it's not like I really should attack with this thing now. Problem is that I'm gonna be in a little bit of trouble if they can deal with this guy. No matter what, I'm going to just play the fight rigging here. And I'm not gonna attack, because trading with the informant isn't what I want to be doing. So hold for ransom. Okay, these are good options, but I think the hold for ransom might be the thing I need here. Essentially. Let's do it. I mean, if I ever even get to cast. So now attack is just not gonna make any sense. If the opponent has a removal on this thing, I think I'm losing the game. Well, not quite yet, but this is really getting out of hand, because, you know, they will connive too. That they might even add 2 counters on this thing, and I don't think I have that easy time to deal with that. No. Guess I have. If I get my bouncer speed down and the freelance muscle is having, you know, enough power, and it already have 6 toughness. Yeah, maybe. But let's see now what they do. If they deal with the decoy, I think I can't, you know, outrun them, outrace them. They have Skycrawler. Okay, that's fine. This has to be blocked, not by every creature possible. They can just block it with 1 creature. So he's gonna have 3 toughness, so I don't have to use the backup agent here. I'm going to use, I guess, the shield, or maybe the voice of the worm in here. It can block the 3-2, and then I can... Yeah, well, I don't have to show them what's coming up here, but yeah, they can just, you know, add counters to them. They can add counters to the lifelinker also. I guess the hold for ransom might be... I'm actually going to be able to cast it if I want to next turn, because I can make this into 6 power with this, and then... Well, 6 power with this and then 7 power with this, but I'm not sure 1 pacifism is gonna be enough here. But I have to try. Voice of the worm. Because opponent being at 20 means also I can't raise thing. Raffine is just, you know, it's as insane as you can think of it. They played on turn 3 a creature that's already a 3 power and 6 toughness flyer. And now they can just, you know, get additional value out of it. Now I shouldn't be really that much of, you know, complaining, because I have my own bomb rare here, which would, against the normal draw, would just, you know, outclass the opponent quite easily. So this was a battle of bomb rares, which the opponent, especially being on the play, is going to, they're gonna win the game, unless I happen to draw something very specific. I guess a bouncer speed down right now might have worked. Okay, if both of these attack, they get to choose which they block. So, and now, as you can see, they have mana up, so that means they have like a kill shot or something. So I still have to try. I have to try here, so I think I'm gonna hope they're flooding out or something. Although I don't know, they're gonna have something, but I have to try it. Well, I can actually make this into base 4/4, so I didn't need to do that. I'm a fool. I am a fool, I think. Oh no, but in order to trigger this, it has to already be 7 power. Yeah, of course. Now if they have something, I guess I'm probably just conceding on spot if they respond to this. If I can't even cast my pacifism, yeah, okay. I can't beat that with those flyers. I mean, even if I'm not quite dead on the next turn, I will be on the following turn. So, not sadly even. I didn't get any broken wings. Nothing much that allows me to deal with the flyer. Well, I guess there's a Gilded Pinions, but I mean the Ruffian can attack as a 2-5 flyer, 3-6 if they have some other attacker. Now maybe it was a mistake for me not to trade with the Ruffian's Informant on that number 3. Not sure. I could have, because if they only were able to attack with the Ruffian, that would have been increasing only the size by 1. Yeah, I guess there was that option, but it's too late now. The server not really. This doesn't give reach. I just have to hope they don't have the Ruffian immediately there, I guess. I don't think there's much. Yeah, this thing has reach, but I wasn't really close to 7 mana. Alright. So they have the run out of town, I should keep in mind they have that available. But I don't have like pump spells really in this deck, so they can't punish me too nastily with it. Okay, now this is really... I hope those... I mean, I have a couple of Informants and the Overseer, so I should be able to hit my land drops, but let's see. Okay, that's an easy thing to discard. Well, I still have 2 draws to get the land drop on the next. Okay, there is the land, and I guess I'll just... well, I might as well... I know I could hold for ransom this thing, but why would I do that? I'll just play another Informant. I think I will... Now do I want to thin my deck? Actually now I want to draw lands, so I'm not gonna play the hideout first. I'm willing to discard what? I guess the crowbar, definitely, because I do wanna go to 5-7 and all that, so let's get rid of this thing. Next turn at least, I should get a forest with this thing because of the triple caster. I can again, you know, draw a card with this Overseer. No Ruffian, okay, no Ruffian, that's good. I don't care if they block there. But man, it's hard to get those lands. Come on, land. It would be really annoying if I can't. Because, well, I guess I can still draw a land to play the Voice of Vermin and... Well, there's a bouncer speed down and hold for ransom here still, so... They have this thing, so they... When this enters the battlefield... This dies or leaves the battlefield. Dies. So if I kill that thing, it's actually they're not gonna get back this land. Not sure how important the land is gonna be for them. It is a black card though, so this is a 1 mana spell. Sadly, unless I really go aggressive here, because I could, you know, pacify this Celestial Regulator, kill this thing. Now I could just play the Voice of the Women here too. If they have any other connives though. But no, I can kill this later on. The problem is I really can't attack with the Informant if I... Well, that's interesting actually. I guess I'm gonna go the aggressive route here now. With 1 blue mana they're not gonna save this. So this dies. I'd rather exile this right away and then pacify the Regulator. They have one. Oh, they have a sleep out of the sleep. Oh man, of course there's a man. That was annoying. Oh, what can I do? Well, as long as they don't have more. I was gonna say as if they don't have more connive, it's not such a big deal. But now they have these 2. At least they are just lands, but. Sure, I'm a fan of the development here, but still I'm actually going to watch this Titan of Industry. I need 2 more lands or treasures in some combination. So this is fine. Of course I can play now the Voice of the Vermin, and then on the next turn I can play the Princess Possible. So things are pretty good. I can get over planes because I have all the green sources I need for the Titan. So basically, now I'm at the pretty sweet spot where I can only draw spells or lands, which, you know, is usually the case. But now I don't mind which I'm... Actually, lands are preferred here. But if I draw spells, it's not, you know, so it's a bad thing either. So now I have the Voice of the Vermin, which can attack as a 4/4. They will block with some of this stuff. If I don't make this into a 4/4, they can just, you know, eat the shield counter for free. So I can't attack with this informant into the Quasar. Yeah, not much I can do about it. So let's do this attack. It's still gonna, you know, eat a card from them without dying itself. Or they're just gonna go to 5, which is fine for me, especially because I have this big trampler coming up. Okay, they chose to... Interesting, because that was the thing that was holding the Inspiring Overseer back. Okay. Now they have this very big thing they need to deal with. And then if they do that, I can... Well, I guess I have one tapped land still in the deck. So I guess the worst draw is the Botanical Plaza that I have still remaining. Any other thing allows me to play a cast a spell on the next turn. Observer. Okay, that was... Okay, they don't have a lot of citizens, I guess. Okay, Jewel Thief is good because this guarantees I can play the Titan of Industry on the next turn. So the 4/2... Yeah, they're gonna use the 4/2 actually to kill the Voice of the Vermin, but they're gonna have to... And this will be... So whenever this attacks or blocks, it gets... Yeah, so I can let this thing resolve first. So this is gonna be an 8/8. Alright, and they are tapped out, so they don't have good blocks here. They don't have good blocks. Can I attack with everything? They can block the Overseer with the Angelic Observer. And they can... Yeah, they can block with a 3/4 on the Informant, and then they can trade with the Vermin and go to 2, and then they go back to 3. Now, that's not a good idea. What is a good idea is to just do it like this. And stack the triggers exactly the way the game wants them to stack. Usually the automatic ordering is good. I still don't want to keep it enabled ever. I want to always have control over the trigger ordering. Get the jump there and then double block that thing with... I mean, I'm happy to get rid of the Quasar because that's gaining them life. I should be easily winning this game, of course, because I mean I have the Thief into Titan of Industry coming up. And they still, I mean, the freelance muscle is enough to, you know, get rid of that stuff there. they probably want to triple block it, and that's just how good the card is. Now, I have a Jewel Thief here coming up, so I can kill the 3/4 and the 3/3, leave this 4/2. The only kind of thing about that is that the 4/2 can trade with the Voice of the Vermin, but it's not really a big deal. I'd rather kill these other two guys. The 3/4 is the thing that is holding back my 3 power creatures anyway, so... Besides, now they don't have access to those lands if that ever gonna matter. So now I can actually attack with everything here. They don't have a flyer to block the Inspiring Officer. All my ground guys. This thing doesn't hold them back. Okay, another Quasar. That thing holds stuff back. Alright, so now this is the sweet spot that... Am I supposed to show the Titan of Industry? They might sideboard some counter spells or something. If I can avoid showing it, that's something I want to do. I can just play another freelance muscle here. Now if I attack with everything, they can eat the Jewel Thief for free. They will trade with the Voice of the Vermin. Unless... No, I can make the Raffin's Informant into a 5/5 actually. No, I can make this into a 5/5. Is that just a winning game? Oh man. If I make the Flyer into a 5/5 and they don't have anything, they can block only 2 of these. Okay, I should go for that. Oh, it's a 4/4, sorry. This would have been a 5/5 because of the counter, but this will be a 4/4, but the same still applies. And it's gonna be a lethal attack if the 2 mana they have there doesn't help them at all. I don't have to show them any other information here. It's exactly 16. Okay. So it was a pretty easy win. I didn't even need my own bomb rares. I had the other one in my hand. Didn't need to cast it. And Yeah, just the opponent, if they don't draw Raffine, things are okay. Alright, so sleep out of the back. Yeah, they have a double quest. I'm almost tempted to play something like Most Wanted because it's a kind of an okay trick. But they do have the run out of town, which I don't like at all. And now that I saw... Well, I guess that's... I didn't see that much interaction. The 3-4 can, you know, hold quite a few of my things. Well, not so much. It can't. This is a 4-4, this is a 4-2 attacker, these are big enough. And I can have the quick draw dagger, I can have the backup agent. Yeah, I guess the 3-4 isn't that nasty, hopefully. Because I don't really feel like I want to. I mean, I guess the Raffine's guidance is something I could consider running instead of maybe... I don't know. This also is equipment I can... Because I have a lot of 3 power creatures. But I just want to be able to deal 4 to the 3-4 ground guy. But the crowbar and the dagger do help there. In addition to the backup agents and fight rigging. I think I should have enough ways to attack past those guys. I don't think I still like the gilded pinions here. I don't. Alright, that's it. No further sideboarding. Did I sideboard anything at all? Even in the before the second game? Okay, well that has to be mulliganed. Oh man. Okay. One lander into one lander. Not even... I don't even have the conniving 2-drops here, but going to 5. Because this is of course the kind of hand that can still win the game if I draw the lands. I don't have to play the Titan of Industry on turn 7. And there's also a reason to maybe consider not just keeping this because I have to lose a card here. I think that's how I'm gonna do. I hope I draw a land. A couple of lands quickly enough to make this a playable game. I think the Titan of Industry, you know, that is the card that's gonna go away. I guess I have a couple of lands that shuffle my deck, so I can still maybe draw this later in the game. But this will just be, you know, completely a lost game if I don't draw the lands. Start with the truth. It's a moment of truth. I guess I can miss land drop like once. Well, I didn't have to. So let's just start. Now the agent is nice with the getaway card. I don't think I have time for that. I will just trade. Just don't play a swamp into Raffine. No, okay, that doesn't get the black one. Let's go try. Well, I didn't draw a land, but I did draw actually a card that can also help me win the game. So I'm going to now do this because I will you know, play a spell this turn. I'm not gonna save this for ransom for anything else, and I'm just hoping to get a land, an untapped land, ideally. But okay, they had a swamp, but they didn't play Raffine. That's good. That's gonna deal with some of my stuff. That is not nice. They can use the disenchant to kill the fight rigging. But I drew the land, so this is now not so bad actually. I don't just think... I mean, I can try to bait them with the getaway card. Maybe they will kill it with the crowbar. But I guess for now I'll just play the Jewel Thief. I'm not going to offer a trade with the 2-2 token. Well, it's the token is a 1-1, but it is a 2-2 thanks to the equipment. So let's do this thing. And okay. I even have the bouncer speed done if they for some reason get to deal with the... I mean, if they're gonna make the Skycryer into some bigger thing, but I guess I can take this quite a few times. Alright, so how do I do it? That's only an attack trigger. I mean, the smart move is probably just to play the Mage's Attendant here. But I do want to... I think I'm willing to trade this Jewel Thief on with both of those guys. If they double block, that's fine. Oh, they have I totally forgot that's a thing, but it's totally fine because now I can play my fight rigging. I really forgot that this thing is also something they can target with this crowbar. Now, I let them block, of course, because if I really want to use the bouncer speed down, I could, but I'm not gonna do that. I'll just let this trade happen. And then I'll play the Mage's Attendant, I think. I don't want to show them the haster. Let's do this. So they have run out of town here, or maybe they just want to use the Sky Crier. Okay, they want to... I mean, they might still have the run out of town, but they let me draw a card, which gives me a land, which is great. I take 2 for now. Okay, the fight rigging can be anything. That's 3 or 4 toughness. Only 3. But they could have the sleep out of back here still. This is interesting. This really is. Because of course racing is a bit hard because they have the lifelink here as well, and they do have 4 unblockable now. Let's do something like let's just play the land, right? This is really bad because they have the 1-1 token. It would be pretty good against the Inspector here. So I can just attack with my 3-2. Okay, they do have a priority, so unless they're holding full control or something. They do have the sleep out back. What's the card in it? The thing that faces out something. So now I know I could have played the getaway card there, but I feel like this is the spot where I am gonna play this. Just, you know, use my treasure for something. That's actually gonna put a big thing. This is gonna attack as a 7/7 now, thanks to the Mage's Attendant. So they can attack for 4. I don't have that much time, and I can't kill any of them as long as they leave a blue mana up. More lucky, that's also more jump blockers, which is can be a bit awkward, but this thing actually has the counter spell option, so if they, you know, had only 1 blue up, that would be great, but that's not the case. None of the guys is black, so this, if I'm going to play the getaway car, am I supposed to play the fight rigging right now? I don't necessarily feel like that. I feel like playing the getaway car instead. Oh, what? I thought... I actually thought I would have been playing that. Well, I didn't, so whatever. Which of these is there? Yeah, that wasn't really what I was aiming at. I mean, I was gonna play Ladies and crew it with the backup agent, and then recast the backup agent post-combat, give the counter to someone. Well, I mean, this is not a bad guy. It's not such a, you know, big mistake. It's just a mistake I kind of didn't want to make. Right, so I'm gonna play the decoy post-combat. Let's see, because the thing is that they have the 1 mana trick, but I think they might have also the 4 mana bounce thing, so the muscle is gonna get bounced now. That's probably what's going to happen. So am I going to just... I might sacrifice this one, so I'm not going to give it a counter. I'm just going to give a counter to Mage's Attendant, actually. But yeah, I need to use the bounce speed down at some point. Am I supposed to attack with this? I think I will. It gets jump blocked, and that's only 6. Alright. So is that gonna be drawing a card or bouncing? Well, they didn't bounce the muscle, so they don't have that. Okay. That's good. decoy has to be blocked. Come on. So this is gonna target the Planeswalker too. And that thing, the trick they have, it only works against creatures. So I guess I can just kill the Elspeth, but this thing has now... I'm dying in a couple of turns. Okay, but now they don't have the... Alright, so... They don't have now mana up for the thing, because they used up everything. But, okay. By the way, am I winning here now? Or, I'm not winning because they do have 3 blockers, but I can kill one, and one of them has to be blocked by the Riveter's Decoy. One of them, yeah. So, I can force a jump on the freelance muscle. The rest of my guys won't be lethal though. Ah yeah, it's not lethal, sadly. So I have to kill the... Can I cast this muscle? This muscle doesn't even matter now. Man, this is tough. I wish they didn't have the Elspeth there. Because this is of course more than enough damage if they had only 2 blockers, but they now be able to put Vigilance there. Alright, this is really tough. I have a couple of timeouts. I think I have to get rid of the Elspeth. They have a lot of these guys though. So if I do this and attack with that, I do want to. I'm not sure if this is smart. I'm going to do it like this, and I'm actually going to just do it like, you know, this. In fact, I'm not gonna bounce anything. This is the maximum. I can't use the bouncer speed down pre-combat really. Doesn't make any sense. Actually, let's make this thing survive. Let's just attack them and hope they block with everything. And then I kill Elspeth and I'm not dying because I'm at 7 and they have only, what, 3 power of attackers. But the Elspeth has to die. So I have to use the beatdown on Elspeth. I have this 8 power creature, so I can do it. So I hope here that they will use every of their guys. I guess they are not gonna block with the Skycryer though. But I mean, then that means if they have a +2/+2, yeah, they will have 5 power unblockables. Yeah, they can do this. This is now. That's 11 damage. I can't put. They're actually not playing around. I guess they can't afford to play around everything. But thing is, if I had now for the family, that would win the game because I am currently dealing. No, I'm actually dealing only. No, they are not. It would be 14 only because this is not attacking this one here. All right, so. Well, I let this happen. I know they have the, you know, the. One card that makes them then think their thing to phase out. I could kill the Elspeth and then I'm dead if they have +2 power there. That's the thing. That is the thing, if they have +2 power. Because I could let them untap and maybe kill the thing they're targeting with this Elspeth. That's my idea. And if they make it face out, it's not gonna be able to block me on my next attack. Problem is if they have a counter spell, I just die. They might also use the -3 on the Elspeth, although I don't think -3 is even a big deal. Then I can just kill the Skycryer maybe. So killing the Elspeth now puts me very... this is tough. Okay, I'm gonna kill it still. I mean, this means if they have +2, then they have +2. I mean, then I'm gonna lose the +2 effect. I think that would have been nasty anyway because of this life linker, so I just hope they don't have it. Of course, my counterattack will be quite nasty, so they can't just attack with everything. I think they can attack. Well, they do have 4 cards in their hand, but I'm tapped out, so if they have the win, you know, they can just, you know, do it. So I guess the fact that they are thinking for this long means they don't have that +2 power there. They might want to draw a card to find a solution. Which would be good news for me, because that means they need to... whatever they are holding in their hand is not enough to deal with the situation. Now the quest up. It's almost enough. Now if they draw a card, this is gonna make me lose 1 life, but I would be still going to 1. Okay. And then that also draws them, so I'm gonna go to 1 if they attack with everything, but I don't think they can attack with everything. And they had this slip out of the bag, yep. So now I'm going to need to... Okay, I have a lethal attack. They did the math before me. I actually had no timeouts. I had to commit. Well, of course, I had to just make an all-out attack because of the... I mean, I was losing to the unblockable guy. But I play the crowbar. I will crew this thing. I can move the crowbar to the 1/1 here, and they are effectively at 10 life here. 10 life here now. So because they block with this thing, and they block my 3 biggest creatures, which is gonna be, they have to block these 4, this 8, and this 4, and then I would have this equipped. That's a 2/2, that's a 3/3. Is that even going to be enough? Wait a minute. Did I have a lethal attack here or not? They have 3 blockers. I play the crowbar, crew this thing. Did they think this has to be blocked by everyone? No, that has already done some attacks. Because if they block this, this, and this, that's only going to be... I don't think I had 10 damage. Maybe they forgot this thing gains life when it blocks. To me, it feels like I wasn't gonna win this game. I get to equip this 1 counter from here. So let's say this is gonna be a 3/3. I make it into a 2/2 by equipping, and then a 3/3 by giving the counter. Sorry about this. I'm just move on to the next match. There's a timestamp in there if you want to, if you don't care about this. But I want to just make it sure that was this concession actually, did they concede from a winning position? Because they didn't even know I have this thing in my hand. I could have 2 lands. But even if I use this, I play this, crew this, equip this, give a counter to this, I have a 8 power, 4 power, and 4 power. Those they can block. All I have here is 4 plus 3 plus 2. That's 7 to my... I mean, sorry, that's 9. 4 plus 3 plus 2 is 9 damage, and they will be at 10 after the lifelink happens. They would be at 1. Then I would be... Even though they lose their board, it doesn't matter because this 1/1 will... There's no trick with this getaway card or with anything. I really think I was able to put them to 1 here, and then I will lose on their turn. And especially if I didn't have this, it wouldn't... I don't know. Maybe I'm just not seeing something. But it doesn't matter. I have 1 now. So they had a Raffine and Elspeth. Well, I'd had some bums too. But yeah, what a match. Okay, now not the greatest hand, but there's a 2-drop and a 4-drop. Now if I would mulligan to 6, I could see this kind of hand. I'll lose one of the lands. Now, I mean, the best 6 card hand would would leave me at 3 lands and 3 spells. But there are a lot worse options too. So I think I'm gonna keep this, and now I might flood out. But that's the price you have to pay when you keep these kind of hands. I'll just thin the deck a bit, get another place because I have the 3 forests. I still want to be able to double spell some white cards if I happen to draw a bunch of those. So I cry up. Well, at least that allows to thin my deck further, but I would ideally have a spell to cast on the next turn. Well, yeah, didn't got the spell, so this is now bad news. Well, what happened? They have a 1 mana spell here. That's what that means. Well, I did keep a 5-lander, and out of my 3 draw steps, 2 were lands, weren't they? Yeah, 2 of them were lands. I'm gonna take 4 here. I go to 17. I get to play the Voice of the Vermin and the Freelance Muscle. If they don't get to deal with the muscle, that's gonna at least stabilize. Maybe I could draw the Titan of Industry in this game, and then all these lands will be useful. Well, at least, yeah, all of these, because that's now exactly 7. But if they had a priority stop with 1 mana open, okay, multiple 2 values. I guess I have 2 multiple of those. Alright, so this is actually better than the Voice of the Vermin. Although they have the trick, but I guess I'm gonna... How am I gonna do it? Maybe there will be an opportunity to cast the decoy later with the blades. Because if I knew they don't have anything, I would quite happily maybe trade here with the 3/3. But now I'm gonna trade with the trick. At least with the Voice of the Vermin I can double block a Jewel Thief, and this will only lose a... Yeah, okay, I'm gonna do that, because the shield counter will help there. And then I can play Muscle, which will be... Well, it might be just a 4/4 if I don't have any creatures, but I don't think I'm gonna lose the Vermin here now, unless they have a... Well, they could have a pacifism effect, of course. Yeah, that would be horrible. Okay, well, that's also horrible. I'm taking 7, I'm gonna go down to 10 now. Well, look at the opponent's start. Pretty good 2-3, turn 2, 3, 4 and 5. That's as good as I want to go. Alright, so not really much. I mean, I still am able to somewhat stabilize, but they do have a... I mean, it could be a 4th family, which means it's +4/+4. I still don't have a way to deal with the Skycrier. So if they can attack me to a low life total, this will finish me off. But it's just, I mean, I had to miss my turn 3 play, and they just had this curve out on the while they were on the play, so it's obviously a pretty nasty situation. So if I'm going to block with the muscle on the adjudicators, it's gonna become... I mean, if that is a 4th family, it was a 1 mana trick. Now it could be the shield counter too, stuff like that. This is gonna be only a 6/6. I mean, I don't think it matters too much. If it is a +2/+2, but it's gonna be a +4/+4. But I don't really see... I mean, I guess I could put all of them into the same guy, but then I'm just taking 7 damage here, and that would be horrible. No, I have to... I'm gonna do it like this, whatever. I guess there's a way to, you know... But they still have 3 cards in their hand. one of them is a cheap trick and then they can still play creatures, but I really wish I could, you know, use the Riveter's Decoy to deal with the Jewel Thief. Sadly, that's only a 6/6 now. Knockout. So they also had that. And then a For the Family. Yeah. So they just had it all. They just had it all. I'm going down to this will trample over. Oh, they had both the knockout. And that was just no way I was winning this game when they had this kind of draw. And I had the kind of draw that I had. Okay, that's enough. It doesn't matter what I draw. I don't even... If I was, you know, one land away from 7, Titan of Industry might have been still a good top deck, but not there. I wasn't able to cast a 7-drop on the turn there. So... This is not very good against a knockout blow, because it only adds 1 toughness. Speakeasy server. I think I just have to, you know, have a little bit better curve out myself. I do have a ton of 2-drops, so I should be able to have a 2-drop, 3-drop start. I mean, it doesn't have to be a 3. It could be a 2-drop on turn 2 and a 2-drop on turn 3, but I shouldn't have too much difficulties playing spells both on turns 2 and turns 3. But now this is why I have those, you know, those 3 lands that can get me either a color. Still getting these hands, because if one of these was a plains or a, you know, dual land, I would of course keep, because I could play this on turn 2 and then, you know, wait to draw a 3rd land for the Overseer. Is this something I'm gonna go down to 6 cards? Because if I draw specifically a white source, which I have 9 of in the deck, this is a good hand. Of course I can play relevant spells, but it's only 9 cards, and can't do anything because I don't have a green spell to cast. I think it has to be a mulligan. Okay, this is better. But I'm still taking a lot of mulligans here. I don't really like it. But I guess the fact the opponent conceded in the first match, the 3rd game, I think they were gonna win that, but they conceded. Maybe they miscalculated. So I guess I have a sort of a free roll match here. I can lose one match. Alright, now this is great. Now, could they have a Skycrier there? Actually, I'm gonna play the Decoy now, because I have a 4-drop anyway, so I don't care about the Blitz that much. Because now if they play a Skycrier, I can just, you know, eat it for free. They are holding it for ransom. Well, I can do this. This is a good curve out. Alright, so next, at some point I'm gonna play the Fight Rigging, but I think I might still play the Voice of the Vermin next turn, but let's see what they have. Well, with that land it's pretty easy, because now my turn 5 can be Informant and Fight Rigging. So I guess that's what I'm doing. If it is, I can always attack with just the Voice of the Vermin, of course. Okay, they discarded. Take to the streets. Now, quick draw dagger. That's interesting, but not sure if it's what I need right now here. I wouldn't want to discard it either, but okay, let's see what I'm gonna draw here. because I'm gonna play, you know, this and fight rigging on this time. Alright, getaway car is really... I mean, I could... this thing allows me to crew. Well, that is... That is something too. Man, I could just attack for 8 here. And not keep the quick draw dagger. I really like the dagger though. And that would mean I won't be playing the fight rigging this time. Okay, let's do it like this. I'm gonna go like this. Return up to one target. Okay, yeah, this and this. I don't care if they trade with the car. I don't care if they take 8 here. I can make the informant into a 4-3. This can still attack as a 4-4. So the inspector isn't holding these guys back. Okay, they have mana up. They have mana up. Well, I guess I just need to, you know... I just need to... make them use their resources, because of course they have some ways to deal with some of this stuff. I have plenty of other... I mean, the fight rigging alone is a threat. They have to deal with somehow. So, out of these options I should hide the muscle here. And I will give a counter to the informant if that's possible. And then I will attack with... these two. Make this into a 4-4 and see what they have. They're gonna use some kind of a card here to deal with something here. And I think they have a quick draw dagger. I would have really liked to keep it, but I think the getaway card is fine enough choice there. Now the decoy. I'm not sure if I'm gonna blitz it. I mean, I guess I might draw the card from it. It's a bit slow the way to do things. I will miss my opportunity to play the informant on the next turn. Well, I guess I'm not in a hurry here. I will use the blitz option. The informant isn't really going to be that good against the 4-5 anyway. So as long as they don't deal with the women, I will have good attacks here. Okay, good returns. Now if they have more things that target their own stuff, will they even go for the attack there? So they are trying to race now. Okay, so they... Okay, well that's interesting now. They didn't move the quick draw dagger. Does that mean they have specifically a 4-mana spell there? It's really tempting to play the Mage's Attendant now that I drew it, because that would counter a 4-mana spell. It doesn't counter the knockout blow. Really tempting though. Okay, I guess I can always post-combat one of the 2 drops. If I am not going to use the counter spell, because that costs mana. Alright, so let's go, and who's gonna get the counter now? I mean, it's gonna be either the Vermin or the Overseer here. I guess they don't have a flying blocker on it. If they have a knockout blow on the Overseer, it's not really even that big of a deal to me. No, it's not. So let's... because this most likely is gonna get blocked, this Vermin here. So let's do it like this. And I'm not gonna try to make this into a bigger creature because they might have the knockout blow. So I'm going to make the voice of the Vermin itself into a 4/4. At least it will be easier to survive a trick they might have. I mean, they can, you know, pump this. This will first lose the shield counter on the first strike. I guess if they have the libation thing, yeah, if they have the X pump spell, that will be awkward. But through any other pump spell, I'm not gonna lose the Vermin. Let's say +2/+2. Okay, they just did that. Now, am I supposed to just play the Riveter's Decoy now? I guess this can haste on the next turn, so maybe I just, you know, play this. Yeah. I will discard probably whatever I draw. But this can attack as a haster. So I have this way I have the most attackers on the next turn. Okay, hold for ransom though is quite good. Darn. Wow. Can that backfire somehow? Well, I guess I don't. I mean, now this was a card they knew about. Now they don't know what I'm having in my hand. I guess if they have a life gain, somehow make this have a life link. Yeah, there's the +2/+2. Not like this. That is exactly 14 in the air. Okay. Well, that was that. On to match 3 then. But yeah, this is the Brokers event. I mean, looking at what I'm playing and what my opponents have played, that's starting to be a bit, you know, boring, and that's the reason I won't be having a lot of these New Capenna drafts uploaded on my channel. Only a few. Oh, come on. Why did I put all those 3 dual lands in my deck if I just can't get the progress starting hand? Imagine if one of these was a white color source. I could have the page and maybe the beat down. This would be a nice curve. Now if I don't draw one of my 9 white sources, it's gonna be miserable because this doesn't do anything if you don't have a creature. I guess I can have one of the 2 Jewel Thieves. So in a sense, 11 outs. Oh man. I'm on the draw, I'll keep it. I mean, I don't want to mulligan all the time. There's at least a Jewel Thief. But man, this is so annoying because, I mean, the reason I picked all those 2 drops is that I want to play things on turn 2, but let's see, I can still draw one of the planes, although I don't have that many planes in the deck, because 3 of my lands are entering tap, but Fight Tricking can make it work. Okay, they had a Master's Theater, they have a very decent. Okay, so this can be countered by this guy, but okay, I guess I'm gonna have a treasure token. I don't have to use it for white mana. And they might also tap out there. But let's see. At least this deck also has black, but the first opponent has to. So it's not all brokers. So I'm not going to block here because given the stuff I have in my hand, bounce speed down, Fight Tricking and Quick Draw Dagger, all of these require creatures. So I'm just taking the 3 for now. Well, they are holding priority, so they do have some kind of an effect. But there are of course multiple options. Multiple options here. those colors. There are some kind of tricks. Progress veteran. Okay, another jewel thief. Not bad, not bad. So they can force me to sack the treasure if they are gonna counter my fight rigging. But I think it's much safer just to play another jewel thief here. Have 2 creatures. And of course if they do double block here, I'm gonna use my quick draw dagger. Which they will in fact then make me... Well no, I guess... Well anyway, it doesn't matter now. They didn't block there, so let's do this. And no, I'm not gonna waste both of those treasures to play a backup agent here. Now I can block the Mage's Attendant. But the question is, should I block it with both of these guys? That is held for ransom. Okay, so they have something, I guess. Well... Now the bouncer's beatdown works with this thing under the hold for ransom, so I think I can now lose my creature and I can make them use whatever trick they have. Oh, that could be the +2/+0 and return it. That would actually be quite annoying. That would be really annoying because I don't think they're gonna attack with the Progress Veteran. Otherwise, they also don't have white mana up. Now it could be also the the 4/4 turn into a 4/4 flyer and draw a card. Both would be annoying. Okay, fine. I'll take the 5 damage. I don't want to deal with. I mean, you make them use either of those tricks, and they still have so they have a trick in their hand, and they. Now that I didn't. This is something what happens when you don't make them use a trick. Then they have the mana for other things. Not that the veteran is the most, troublesome thing, but it's still annoying. Well, I can attack now. Yeah, it's gonna be one of those two. Either the blue spell that turns a creature into a 4/4, or it is the +2/+0 black spell that makes the creature enter the battlefield from the graveyard if it dies. So now I can try to, there was a reason I didn't want to play the fight trick. I want to play another creature, and then I will have 3 mana up to use the bouncer speed down. I think that is what I have to do here. And I am gonna make this into a 2 so I can block the Mage's Attendant with it. Of course I have the quick draw dagger too, but depends on what is their trick. I will choose between the dagger and the beatdown. I will use my treasure here, but at least I can still play the fight rigging here. Now they have a flyer here, which is of course annoying. But they are not now their attacks aren't good because of my counter trick here, so I guess they don't attack at all, which is fine. I don't have to waste my treasure. Now there's the 7-drop. Alright, so problem with this situation is of course that if I play anything now, I won't be able to have mana for the bouncer speed down. I mean, I could have drawn some. I guess I kept 3 forests and never drew any land. Yeah, I kept the 3 forests, and this is after 6 draw steps. Yes, I got a couple of jewel thieves, but I haven't drawn lands, and of course, when the opponent has been having a good mix of lands and spells, they have this board position, while I have nothing. Yeah, I can play only 1 spell. Whatever I cast in this turn cycle, it's the only thing I can cast. So, how did I do it? It's really difficult, especially because they do have their flyer now, so they can, continue attacking. I guess I just have to play the fight trick I don't really see any other option there. And it's gonna get over soon here. Who's gonna pick up the counter? I guess it can be them. Can be the jewel thief, and I don't think I'm gonna offer any trades. I'm going to make them attack into me. You know, I'm not gonna allow them to use a spell on my turn. I make them use mana on their own turn. If I for some reason could be able to stabilize, of course that my hand is gonna be pretty good once I start drawing lands, but stabilizing part here is really difficult now, especially because I know they have a trick of some kind. So just do this and I guess do this. Don't really think I can have the luxury to yeah, fake your own death. That was one of the options, so they get shield counters somewhere and then this back. I wish I could have been able to respond to the bouncer speed down there, but what can you do? I have no blockers into 7 damage, into 10 damage. Well, let's see if my... no, still no land, so that was in fact 8 cards I drew, I think. None of them was a land. Right. I mean, I just have to get an actual game of Magic. There's no... don't see any sideboarding there. The Gilded Pinions isn't really that amazing. I'm gonna be able to raise the opponent with my ground guys if I just can curve out with my ground guys. I'm not worried about them playing a 5 mana 3/3 flyer. If I play a 5 mana 4/4, that's becoming like a 7/7 or 8/8 when it attacks. Okay, how many one-landers have I haven't here? Well, I'm not keeping this on the play. That's okay. But yeah, this seems like a bunch of the games have been really miserable because of... not really, I mean, when you look at the deck in the deck builder, this is a 2-color deck, very consistent and all that. But sometimes that's not enough. You can still have bad rolls. But this actually might save up being a pretty decent one. I didn't want to play the Informant yet because I don't know if I need to discard a land or a non-land. I want to see more information about my draws. Wonder what should be my play now. It would be really tempting to try to hit the 4th land to get the decoy blitzed on the next turn. But if I draw a land, what am I gonna discard? Hold for ransom. I know I could play the decoy and the next turn play hold for ransom on the veteran and you know, make them block with whatever they are gonna have there. And yeah, neither of these is a citizen, so that's the reason I didn't bother with them pre-combat. Yeah, okay, let's do the decoy. Then I think I am going to hold this thing for ransom, so it doesn't get to give the counter to anyone. Although if they don't have a creature now, I might let this trade happen, but they do have... okay. Well. Maybe I'll play this first and see what happens. I might draw a tapped land, so that's why I don't play this. If they actually want to counter this, I wouldn't mind that. Well, they definitely have something. Alright, so with the muscle, I definitely should do this. I think they might have the, you know, the +2/+0 thing again, so I'm gonna just hold this thing for ransom. Because that's the trick I saw them from in the previous game. So now I can attack for 5 here. And if I draw a... well, I guess I can draw a tapped land. I have 2 of them left, but... and I can have also another of these freelance muscles and a Titan of Industry. But that's like a very few draws that don't allow me to play a spell on the next turn. Also now they would have to have a 4 toughness blocker because they have to, you know, block the decoy. So if they have only a small creature, it's not gonna be that great. Now it might be the Mage's Attendant though, that comes with a 1/1 token, which is perfect for blocking the decoy, of course. But it's just a whack, okay? This is not a citizen, so let's first attack. Counterspell. No, I mean they have the +2/+0 card anyway, so. But they don't have black one up, so of course they had to make this appear, so. Well, at least they didn't get to use it with this thing, so they could get the... so they could get, you know, the... shield counter when they sacrifice this. Now this is gonna... come back with a treasure token now. But... if I just attack with the servant, they're still gonna use the card. It's becoming a 4/1, so I should just make this happen. I'm actually very happy to draw the planes there, so I can play the freelance muscle now. Actually, so they didn't have that thing. Is there gonna be another make disappear? I guess I'll see right now. So this actually threatens to be a 7/7, which is exactly lethal right now. Because this has 3 toughness and this looks for toughness and power. Among other creatures. Well, now they... I see now. I see now. So I think they do have the +2/+0 thing. So they just wanted to use it on the Overseer. They wanted to use it on the Overseer. So they can, you know, draw another card. But that I'm at least going to be able to force them to jump block the muscle up, because this is gonna be an 8/8 now thanks to the backup agent. Yep. I mean, they can still use it, but this is not gonna. They have to block the muscle, so they might, I don't lose any creature myself. So they go to 4 and then they go back to 5 when this re-enters the battlefield. Well, they could have something else too, of course. Can I win a game in this final match? Now, if they don't have anything to deal with the puzzle, I probably can. So there's the fake Yo death. That's the only thing they have, so they're gonna go back to 5, but this thing is gonna, of course, draw a card. They get a treasure token. They have now 4 cards in hand because Inspiring Overseer is great. I have that card in my deck too. Maybe I can draw that. Sanctuary Warden. Are you kidding me? That is one of the bomb mythics in the set, so I guess this event was just not mine to win if I don't have a little bit difficult draws. Then the opponent can play some pretty nice rares. So, we have a Grizzly City for that. Can you imagine that? What a turn. Freelance muscle no longer is very good. It's gonna be a 5/5. Wow. I need some really serious help from my deck. The opponent can't even afford to do this kind of an attack. Right. Well, there's no attack for me. When in doubt, have a nice mythic rare that completely takes over the game. And as you can see, I was very much winning the game. Any kind of normal commons and uncommons would have been a little bit difficult. I mean, at least it would have been very much a lot slower for them to come back to the game and start attacking me now. I mean, I would have to be very lucky to even draw any good stuff here. So they have infinite jump blockers there. I can still try to attack with this 8, but this can block, and yeah, I mean with this shield counters, I guess the Gilded Pinions would really be good here, but there's just no way I can beat this. Even if I draw a Titan of Industry, I still couldn't cast it. Casually 5 more life, and yeah, so my plan to overwhelm with my big ground creatures and, you know, curving out worked very well up to the point where they played the Sanctuary Warden, which is just, you know, I guess, okay, well, I get my own inspiring overs here, but yeah, all these jump blockers, now their Warden is just and there is the Titan of Industry, so I can actually survive a turn, can I? Block this guy here, block this guy here. Yeah, I mean, if I draw an untapped land on the next turn, these two, you know, combo off from each other, don't they? The second one will be a 16-16. Not that it matters, because this just made them, you know, a lot of jump blockers. Sorry, 8, not 16. It doesn't double, it just gave it +8/+8 instead of +4/+4, so it's 12/12. Okay, so they do use up the shield counter there, which means the Sanctuary Warden isn't gonna... Because it needs a shield counter, any counter, if they don't have any other way to generate a counter. And I still need an untapped land. I don't have a lot of untapped lands, but I guess it's not an impossible thing to draw. I'm not even sure if it's gonna be enough, but this has a reach, so it can block the 5/5. Unless I just lose now, well, by them dealing with... If they deal with one of my creatures, I'm gonna lose, right? Okay, they force my... Okay, so they didn't... Yeah, I don't know if they should have... Well, anyway, I'm happy they didn't have a shield counter anymore here to draw yet another card and make yet another 1/1 to jump block. But the question is what to do, because I could block the Inspiring Overseer here and trade here. And yeah, they might have tricks. No, I can't really afford to play around tricks. So I can jump here, go to 5, but then they will have all these left. I will have to gain 5 life here. And then, well, don't know what else, but at least gain 5. So maybe it is better just to... Because even if I jump here, I'm still losing on the next turn if I don't get this Titan of Industry. So I think I'll just do like this and hope they don't have +2 power they're coming up. If they do, then, well... Okay, so now if I draw an untapped land, I have a chance. And I did. Alright, so please don't have a counterspell. Now I'm a bit sad about the fact they didn't crack the Skybridge towers there, because that means they are not holding 2 basic lands. Because then they would have just drawn another card. But it's not like I have really options here. Am I going to, though... I mean, they're gonna block these anyway. Of course, if I play the Titan of Industry, that will mean that this will be even bigger. But both of these will just get jump blocked, I think. So, I mean, it's possible the other one doesn't. They can take 8. But I don't really feel like there's like they can have some kind of bounce effect. Yeah, if they have a bounce effect, that's not so bad. That's not so bad at all, because that means they have only 1 card left. If that's not a counter spell or a bounce spell, this is still gonna be good enough. Oh, but it's no, they still have the land activation, so that's why they have it. So gain 5 and shield or a 4/4. I don't think the shield counter does anything, so let's make a 4/4. So now, as long as they can't kill Titan of Industry, or it doesn't have to be a kill, bounce spell, pacify, anything, because they have 8 in the air. Oh man, look at this. They had to have it. I mean, this would have stabilized the game, but nope. They had what they needed. Well, that was quite a sequence of draws I had there. I mean, I needed both the lands, untapped lands, and the Titan of Industry itself, which I did draw, and sadly, just the opponent had the interaction they needed. Alright, so I think this was an 0-3 event, because I don't think I was supposed to win the first match either, but a little bit troublesome. I mean, I had my mythic rare there, but the opponent had the better mythic rare, because the 6 mana 5/5 flyer is better than Titan of Industry, which costs, 7 mana. But still, yeah, a rough event. But looking at this deck, you don't really, I mean, this deck with the curve and the, ease of mana, I had too much trouble with this deck than I should. I should just, be able to curve out turn 2, play always spells on turn 2 and turn 3 and turn 4, and use my big hitters. Then when the opponent gets to maybe stabilize, I have these kind of aggressive big creatures that can help me push through. That really didn't happen a lot in the games, so but that's what happens sometimes. I'll claim the prize here, and at some point there will be another draft, probably a New Capenna. I'm not sure about the Theros Beyond Death Premier drafts, but I will see you in, well, whenever the next video is coming up. Thank you for watching, and bye bye.